Welcome to this explainer. You know, for decades, space was just, well, it was the exclusive domain of government-funded science, right? A realm of pure exploration. But right now, literally before our very eyes, we're witnessing this massive transition. Space is rapidly becoming a commercial trillion-dollar economy. We're going to break down exactly how this shift is happening, who the key players are, and why this whole industrialization of space is moving way faster than anyone really anticipated. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the trillion-dollar space boom, replacing the space station, the microgravity economy, the strategic space race, and finally, building out lunar infrastructure. So let's get into it. Section 1, the trillion-dollar space boom. So before rockets ever leave the launch pad, they need massive financial catalysts. And right now, the attention of the broader financial world is pivoting sharply upward. Take a recent blockbuster IPO for SpaceX, for example. The rocket maker was brought to market with over 555 million shares priced at $135 apiece. That creates a massive $75 billion IPO, placing the company's valuation at a breathtaking $1.8 trillion. I mean, that is a historic moment for the capital markets, really laser-focusing investor attention on the sheer scale of the space industry. And the demand is just unprecedented. While institutional heavyweights like BlackRock sought at least $5 billion in stock, retail investors submitted more than $100 billion in orders. Put that into perspective. Public appetite was so intense that the retail allocation actually had to drop to 20%, down from an expected 33%. The desire to own a piece of this space economy is absolutely immense. To actually organize all this massive growth, public defense and space tech companies like Voyager Technologies structure their roadmap into a really clever blueprint they call the 3 Ls. Step 1 is LEO, or low Earth orbit. Step 2 is lunar, which is returning to the moon. And step 3 is Lagrange, which basically serves as a proxy for deep space destinations like Mars. This step-by-step outward expansion is the fundamental framework for the entire new space economy. Moving on to Section 2, replacing the space station. Now, what's really interesting about this is that we are operating on an incredibly tight timeline to replace our aging global space infrastructure. The International Space Station is getting old, and NASA actually plans to deorbit it sometime between 2030 and 2032. Meanwhile, China has already had a brand new space station in orbit for about 2.5 years now. So to fill the gap before the ISS comes down, commercial successors, like Starlab, are targeting a launch in late 2029. It's a super tight window, and the race is totally on to make sure there's no gap in our orbital presence. Now, Starlab is one of the key commercial projects competing to be that successor. And it's this massive collaboration effort. It brings in aerospace giants like Airbus, alongside data powerhouses like Palantir, to handle all the complex orbital logistics. But the great enabler of this entire commercial space push is really SpaceX. By dramatically lowering costs and launching hardware every 48 hours, they open up the ability to actually get a massive commercial station like Starlab into orbit, specifically using the SpaceX Starship. It's a total game changer. All right, Section 3, the microgravity economy. You know, it's really easy to get caught up in the sheer scale of the rockets and the orbital hardware. But you have to ask, why go to space at all? What is the actual point of spending billions and billions of dollars to put commercial stations in orbit? Well, it's a fantastic question, and it pivots us perfectly from the hardware of space to the tangible economic and medical benefits we can bring right back down to Earth. And the answer is microgravity. Large commercial space stations are going to be optimized for microgravity research, and the benefits directly impact us. In an environment without gravity, we can optimize biopharma drug development in ways that are literally impossible on the ground. We can even grow human tissue in orbit. I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, but it's absolutely fascinating. This is highly practical science that will become an everyday reality once these large commercial stations are operational. Section 4, the strategic space race. Beyond the commercial utility, there is a very clear contrast in global strategic posture right now. Low Earth orbit is rapidly becoming a domain of critical national security. The U.S. is transitioning to a heavy reliance on new commercial entrants to lead innovation in space, alongside defense spending that's been reallocated to the Space Force, which, as you might remember, was created under the first Trump administration. Conversely, China maintains a very heavy military focus, with an active, dedicated national space station already up there in orbit. So, to be clear, we are actively in a strategic space race. So the crucial point here is captured perfectly in the idea of space as the ultimate high ground.
Think about it. Our way of life, our daily communications, our global GPS navigation, even the precise timing of our financial systems, it all relies entirely on satellite infrastructure. National security requires constant vigilance over this high ground to ensure that adversaries simply cannot interfere with those critical networks.
And finally, Section 5, building out lunar infrastructure. So we aren't just looking at low Earth orbit anymore, we're returning to the moon. And to actually achieve this, companies are gathering physical infrastructure capabilities through strategic acquisitions. Take Astrobotic, for example. Initially a winner of a commercial landing program under NASA, Astrobotic is a leader in lunar power and logistics. By acquiring them, companies like Voyager are essentially completing the complex technology stack required for NASA's Artemis program. It's kind of like in software, right? You need the full stack to operate. Except here, the stack consists of physical landers, rovers, habitation modules, and power systems delivered directly to the surface of the moon. The historic shift happening right now can be summed up in one powerful idea, not just flags and footprints. In the past, going to the moon was all about brief exploratory missions. You plant a flag, you leave some footprints, and you come home. Today, the mission is entirely different. We are witnessing a profound shift toward building permanent, sustainable lunar bases with actual long-term infrastructure. And this brilliantly illustrates what the ultimate vision for this infrastructure is. It's simple, but it is incredibly profound. One day, you'll be sitting on your front porch, you'll look up at the night sky, and you will actually see lights on the moon. Simply because there will be human beings living, working, and operating data centers and power grids right there on the lunar surface. It gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? As we approach the 250th birthday of the United States, we really have to ask ourselves a monumental question. Are we standing on the doorstep of the next industrial revolution? When you combine the trillion-dollar influx of capital, the replacement of our orbital stations, the breathtaking medical breakthroughs happening in microgravity, and the permanent colonization of the moon, the sheer unprecedented scale of this emerging off-world economy is just staggering. It's a massive shift in human capability, and it's happening right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep looking up.